Bashim Yahawah Bashim Rakakadash the water Yahawah the water Yahawah Bashim Yahawah Shalaki Yahawah for my sins as I cry the water Yahawah for your mercy all the time. Kolo Yahawah Vashim Yahweh Shai. Kolo Yahawah Vashim Yahweh Shai. Baba Kashai Yahawah for Aqua all the time. Baba Kashai Yahawah and the water all the time. Water Yahawah for the Yakim all the time. Kolo Yahawah Vashim Yahweh Shai. Shalom, shalom. It's your brother Obadiah Yahweh Kanan. And I know I'm getting to you a little late, but always better late than never. I want to wish everybody to start, because we're going to get ready for it, for the Day of Atonement. The Day of Atonement is extremely important, and it's a measure of our resolve to give the Most High the praise and the worship that He deserves beyond any measure we can imagine. And in the process of us doing that, we are to atone for our sins as we believe and have faith in Yahweh Shai's Hamashiach, which is our Savior, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ, and He is Yahweh Shai. And He atoned for our sins of the past, but He did not atone for your sins currently. And let's just face the facts. On a regular basis, we offend the Most High quite effectively. And a lot of times we don't even know that we do it in the course and scope of a regular day or just a regular week or a year, month, year. We do, because His sovereignty and His righteousness is so beyond what we can imagine that at any given point in time, some thoughts that may come to our mind, some way that we may look at a certain situation or a certain individuals, we currently provide a sinful position. And in this flesh that we're in, it's always very compromised in terms of how we operate. I speak sometimes in reference to how we move on this earthly plane, and this in itself presents a sinful process that we go through. We go through measures of carnality, and in these measures of carnality, we blend them with what we consider to be spirituality, which clearly is not compatible. You can't blend carnality with spirituality, because the Most High sees your carnal self as enmity to Him. That's roughly paraphrased in scriptural. Carnal flesh and blood is enmity to the Most High, and the heart is wicked beyond what anyone can imagine. It's desperately wicked, as the scripture says. So one of the things that we seem to fall short on a lot of times is we end up in a very, I guess you would call it, sort of more than a catch-22. It's more of a spiritual debacle, because what ends up happening is simply this. Esau has a tendency of using us as a shield, to pretty much block or expand his time in his sinful process here in Job chapter 9, verse 24, where the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So in the process of the earth being given in the hand of the wicked to Esau, what we seem to also have is the fact that Esau uses Jakes, and he uses Israelites completely scattered around the world as a shield to shield him from sin being actually coming down on him in terms of judgment. So how does he do this? Well, his methodology here, of course, now Most High puppetizes him, and he also says that the wicked is his sword. That's also scripturally based. Some of the things that I'm speaking to about you, if you're studied up, and I'm speaking to the elect, they know what I'm saying, and if they want to post some of these scriptures as well as what I'm saying, they're welcome to do so. And so what I'm saying here is that if he can keep us in sin, in other words, abomination to the Most High and his holiness and his sovereignty and his divinity, what he does is he promotes that through every aspect of our lifestyles, whether it is something that we consume as a food, or whether it's something that we do as individuals, whether it be work, whether it be play, whether it be anything that is associated with your lifestyle. If Esau's in control and he has these three weapons that he's been blessed with for his purpose in terms of performing the wickedness that he does, he's going to use the sword, and anything that he can weaponize as a sword is a method of sword for him. Now, in the middle of that process, of course, we're going to speak on what that is and how that sin is used as a shield. And then, of course, again, the fatness of the earth is also what he's been given and granted. So now that he is spread amongst the whole earth and using the sword to propagate his process and his way, and then, of course, having the fatness of the earth, meaning these cave roaches are everywhere, okay? Maybe probably not some of the deepest portions and parts of the Amazon basin, maybe not. And then, of course, probably couldn't get there because the Most High has such things there that would terrify and tear up anybody that gets down to that area. Now, there are probably also, and I would say so, some individuals who live in the deep portions of the Amazon basin, and because they do live in that capacity, they know how to operate there. So, but I guess Esau hasn't been able to penetrate that location in an area. Now, the middle portion of what his particular power would be in terms of how he uses sin as a shield and uses jakes in order to fortify that shield in front of the Most High. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the Most High can't penetrate a shield that Esau uses in terms of his chosen people, which is us, okay, the Hebrew Israelites. But the Most High has a compassion for his chosen people, and that's why he judges us and chastises us first, because of the fact that he does have that love and compassion, and who he loveth he chasten, okay, also scriptural based. So the middle portion of that shield that he tries to fortify is his deception. That's the other power that is a hidden power, but it is a power also that he uses that combines with the two, the sword, the fatness of the earth, and the deception thereof. So by him using the deception, what he is doing in essence is he is showing you something that is pseudo. He gives you a pseudo environment, okay? And in a pseudo environment, it is a deceptive process because it's not the truth that you're experiencing. And he uses pseudoscience, and he uses the pseudo technology in reference to presenting himself as part of our lineage and part of the chosen people, which he is not. So therefore, he's using a pseudo process through deception. And that pseudo deception process that he is using also is being used upon Jakes, upon Israelites, and keeping them in a deceptive, dumbed down situation where they are subliminally seduced into believing there's something that he portrayed them to be. In other words, he labeled you a black person. Okay, black is derivative of light, the derivative of void of any essence of life, of any essence of purity, of any essence of righteousness. That's what black is supposed to represent. Now, I know in the Bible and in the book of remembrance, the Pentateuch and the Torah, these are also the names of the Bible prior to being called the Biblios, okay? In that process, there are terms that are relative and broken down into the language that we are in our captivity speak, which is English and what have you, and various other Englishes of captive and colonized processes that happen where they use the term black to represent our people. That's not who we are. We're different shades of brown. We're certainly not black. Okay, so that's not the case. But that's a byword and a derivative of degradation on us to put us in a position where we really do not understand who it is we are and how we operate in terms of not whom we are. So that deceptive level that the Most High allows Esau to puppetize has put us in a position where he's using us as a shield to shield his situation of the sin that he's in, that he's perpetrating throughout the whole earth. And this is what he's doing. And so that sin in itself is a issue that Esau now is coming to fruition, who has to pay for. Case in point, and to the point, now we have the title of the lesson. Yahawah calls the plays, your time's up, Esau, you gotta pay. Okay, Yahawah calls the plays, your time's up, Esau, you gotta pay. And basically that's going to delineate the fact that going down through the process of how the transitional prophetic processes move forward, all of the curses that were on us from Deuteronomy chapter 28 and all of the plagues thereof, and then more plagues that are being brought up and brought out that, hey, we don't even know the title of the essence of these plagues, because Most High said there are going to be plagues brought out that is beyond what we understand and what we've seen even in Egypt. So now we have a new form and process of plagues that's going to be brought forth and relinquished on Esau. And so now he has to pay, and he's not going to get out of this thing. Can't escape the Most High. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to hide. You can't escape him. Escape the Most High. So that's the nature of it is. So Yahawah calls the plays. When he's calling these plays, man. This is his movie. This is his program, and time is up, Esau. Esau, Edom, your time's up, and you got to pay. We had to pay. You got to pay, and guess what? You get to pay double, and the Creator's going to make sure that happens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into breaking down some good portions of scripture. I pulled some good precepts that will take us back through Genesis chapter 25. I'm going to start there. Always good to go back to the beginning because that's what's important. And we're going to get to that point, and we're going to break it down. So let me give my greeting to the Akim. I want to say salutations to all of the Akim that are teaching and preaching on the highways and byways. I want to give you a salute, for the atonement that you're going to bring forth and you're going to work through and go through righteously. The Day of Atonement is a very gracious and wonderful thing. I'm going to pull a couple of scriptures here to honor that, but we're going to do another lesson tomorrow, Lord willing, in reference to the Day of Atonement. Also, I want to give salutations also to the elders, and as well as the apostles who have been bringing out this truth for us and being accurate in the process of prophetic transition, of prophetic knowledge and everything. The MOTB, the stab and jab, all the things that have been coming out, that have been brought out decades before these things were even being pushed out in this format as we have right now. So they've been very diligent in terms of doing what they had to do to bring this truth forward. And it's always a grace, a pleasure, and an honor to learn from men who've been chosen by the Lord in order to do this work. And so you want to definitely give a salutations to them. We want to give salutations to the scattered elect around the world that look like the heathen but are not the heathen, because they really are the Israelites. They just look like the people in the nation where they have been scattered to and under captivity. So we want to definitely say salutations to them. We want to say salutations to the YAHAWAH who listen and learn in a respectful and mannerable way. And we want to say salutations to them. And also, we just want to make sure that all of the elect and those like-minded brothers that are in this truth and bringing it forward under the sacred names of Yahawah Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem Rakakadash, we want to give you a salute and salutations. But let's get right back into the scriptures and what we're going to deal with. First and foremost, let's deal with the Day of Atonement in terms of what we're turning the corner on right at this moment in time. So we're really going to deal with Leviticus chapter 23. I'm going to start there, and then I'll pull a few extra precepts, and then we'll go forward. Okay, Leviticus chapter 23. Okay, first we'll move there first. Okay, so Leviticus chapter 23, and I want to hit 26 through 27 in terms of bringing forth the Day of Atonement and what we will honor and respect. And it reads, "And the Lord Yahawah spake unto Moses, saying, Also on the 10th day of this 7th month there shall be a day of atonement, and it shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto Yahweh the Lord. Now, let me just say this much in reference to that because it's important. We know now that Yahweh Shai is our sacrifice, okay? And we also know that when this is a holy convocation, that means that it will be something that will be kept for generations. It's not going to go away, okay? And as far as afflicting your soul is concerned, if you can operate in that capacity and give that sacrifice of yourself in terms of not eating, not drinking, not doing anything for that period of time, that is afflicting your soul. Now, also an offering made by fire unto Yahweh. That, since we don't burn an offering anymore as we would with an actual live animal in terms of letting the essence of that going up, one of the similitudes that you can offer in that measure is you could burn some incense and some sweet essence and smell of frankincense and myrrh and things of this nature, so you can offer an offering made of fire unto Yahweh, okay? Because Yahweh Shai, of course, is a sacrifice that sufficiently done it. So if you perform that process in that way, that is a type of similitude that you can do, because you really ain't supposed to be making no fires during the holy and Sabbath days, unless it's specifically under the premise of how you operate for a specific feast day or holy day. Other than that, you ain't burning nothing, okay? Okay, just to bring it out. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before Yahweh the Lord your power. For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. Now, see, that's important to understand, because it's bad enough already that we are cut off amongst our people anyway, in terms of the sin and the things that we've been doing. So we can clearly see that that's something that we're dealing with right now in terms of being cut off, right? Okay, now let me read on. And whosoever shall, shalaki, and whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, the same soul will I destroy from among the people. See, you could tell how serious this day is for the Most High. You don't want to play around with this, okay? You shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. See, the Most High said forever, which means it's not going to go away. You'll be doing this in the new covenant, the new kingdom as well, right? 32, it shall be unto you as a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month at evening. From even unto even shall ye celebrate your Sabbath, okay? And so that's one way that we can honor the Day of Atonement. Now, I'm going to go here to Leviticus. I'm going to stay in Leviticus, and I'm going to go to chapter 16, okay? And I'm going to read 16:3. Thus shall Aaron come into the holy place with a young bullock for a sin offering and a ram for a burnt offering, okay? So as you can see right there, it's talking about one of the processes that happened during the time of the Day of Atonement. Again, Most High doesn't change. He tells you that in Malachi chapter 3:4, he doesn't change at all. Okay, so we still have to honor the law and respectfully try to practice the righteous acts, like in Judges chapter 5. So we have to have faith in Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, but we also have to still adhere to and obey the laws that we can practice in this realm of captivity that we're operating in. Okay, I'm going to jump down to 16:29 from where I was, and that reads, and this shall be a statute forever unto you, that in the 7th month, on the 10th day of the month, ye shall afflict your souls, and do no work at all, whether it be one of your own country or a stranger that sojourneth among you. Now, let me say this about the fact in terms of the 7th month, and when it talks about, the 7th month and the 10th day. Our calendar currently that we are operating under in this captivity is not accurate in reference to how we operate as Hebrew Israelites, scripturally based in terms of when our new moons and when our processes go forward in terms of our feast days and our holy days and our celebrations. So, some people would say right now, well, but we in the 8th month. No, that's how Esau set up the calendar. That's not the way we got it, because we got it right. He's just forwarding his own situation, like in Daniel, where he thinks to change times and dates and things of this nature, which he was prophesied that he would do. So now you're living in amongst that process. Okay, so now you understand why his calendar says the 8th, 7th month, or he gets it all screwed up, right? Okay, just want to bring that out, right? Okay, so we did Leviticus 3. Did we do Leviticus 2? 16:2. And the Lord spoke unto Moses and unto Aaron thy brother, that he come not at all times into the holy place within the veil before the mercy seat which is upon the ark, that he die not, for I will appear in the cloud upon the mercy seat. See, when Yahushua had performed, went through the crucifixion, he rent the Holy of Holies from top to bottom, which opened up the grace and the righteousness for us to be able to go through Yahushua to the Father. So that was there. Of course, some of the wicked Pharisees and the Sanhedrin and various individuals were not pleased with this, because they didn't want to lose that power in Rome in reference to the seat that they were afforded, even if they were Israelites that were in the lineage and the line of the righteous men of YAHAWAH. They still had some wickedness within them, and they didn't want Yahushua to do this because they wanted to maintain their power, much like what you see happening now. That's why you have a division between the house of Saul and the house of David. Okay, those of us on the house of David do not agree with those on the house of Saul, because the house of Saul was taken down, and those Pharisees could be construed as being part of the house of Saul in terms of the way they operate. Okay, just wanted to bring that out. Okay, I'd like to go to Hebrews, if you go with me. Join me for Hebrews chapter 9 and verse 7. That's what we're going to hit there, because it's a portion of the Day of Atonement that speaks in the New Testament. Because I know some people say, well, Obadiah, what about the New Testament? Do we still deal with and do the New Testament in the Day of Atonement in the New Testament? Yes, we do. Like I said, Most High don't change. So clearly. Okay, so chapter 9, verse 7, and it reads, but unto the second went the high priest alone once every year, not without blood, which he offered for himself and for the errors of the people. Okay, now let me break that down for you and give you a little bit of knowledge about that situation. During that time before Yahushua was sacrificed on the cross, the priesthood, the Levitical priesthood, had to present the sin offering for the people of Israel to the Most High every year in order to cleanse sin, right? So, but he had to be able to go into the Holy of Holies, which I just spoke about, which has the veil and the covering, and where the Most High would bring his presence down and be there to accept the offering. Now, think about this. During that time, they used to do a practice with the priest, and this says a lot about their position in reference to how much they had faith and how much sin they knew they were in. Okay, check it out. They used to put bells on the priest. Okay, they put bells on his sleeves and on his leg, down around his ankles and his legs. And it wasn't for some musical dance or anything of that nature. It was a purpose behind it. Okay, and then they would tie a rope around his waist. Okay, and the rope that was around his waist was to retrieve him. Why? Because let's say, okay, he went in to do the order of the priesthood, the Levitical priesthood, in terms of the sacrifice for the Day of Atonement and whatever feast day that he had to go into the Holy of Holies. Now, if he could move around inside the tabernacle in the Holy of Holies, then he's still alive, and the Most High hadn't killed him. Okay, because that means his sin offering was not only so far righteous in terms of how he was going to perform it so far, but also he had to be clean himself in order to even appear in the tent in the Holy of Holies. Now think about it. So they put a rope on him, because a lot of times if the priest went in and his righteousness was not sufficient, he was killed by YAHAWAH, by Shem Yahushai. He was deleted. Okay, which means they would have to pull him out with the rope, because once they heard the bells stop moving, a lot of times the priest was dead. So what's going on here is, if you hear the bells still jingling and tingling and whatever, then at the same time you know that the priest is still alive, right? So that's important to understand, because a lot of times um, they would pull him out. Now think about this for a minute. If that is the case, all right, now I'm going to just say this for you for a minute, because I want you to really recognize this, okay? All right, let me see something, if I can pull the scripture on that. Let's see. King James scripture on the priest with bells on him in the Holy of Holies. So, okay, all right. I don't know if I got it or not. Let's see. Okay. Okay, what's the scripture for that? Okay, I see I got it here. I just want to make sure I pull that scripture. Let's see if this is it. Okay. Where is it? Holy of Holies, Hebrew. Okay. Kodash HaShkodam of Kadesh Ha-Kosham, also the sanctuary. As in the sanctuary, is in term in the Hebrew Bible that refers to the inner sanctuary of the tabernacle where God's presence appeared. According to Hebrew tradition, the area was defined by 4 pillars that held up the veil of the covering, under which the Ark of the Covenant was held above the floor. According to the Hebrew scriptures, the Ark contained the 10 commandments, which were given by Yahweh to Moses on Mount Sinai. The temple in Jerusalem was said to have been built by King Solomon for keeping of the ark. Ancient traditions viewed the Holy of Holies as a spiritual junction of heaven and earth, the Aximundi, as a part of the temple, of the Hebrew Israelite temple in Jerusalem. The Holy of Holies was a statue somewhere in Temple Mount, its precise location of the mount being a matter of dispute, with some of the classical information sources identified its location with the foundation stone, which sits under the dome of the rock, right? Scholars argue that contemporary reports would place the temple to the north or the east of the current dome of the rock. Okay. What I wanted to see if I could find, was it Exodus? Let me see. Was that? I don't know if that was it. I don't think so. Let me see. Let me see again. Bible scripture on when they put the bells on the priest when he went into the Holy of Holies. Okay. Okay, I'm getting close here. I'm trying to think of this as when it comes to the presence of the place where he leaves the rope around the priest ankle. I'm telling you, that's what they had to do. God, come on, Lord, let me get this. I want to get this scripture. Is it? I think it was Leviticus 16. Was it? Makes the good sorry. Okay. Well, you should see this picture. It's crazy. It's actually showing the bells on the priest. But I don't want to digress too far with this. Okay, if I can't pull it, eventually over the high priest robe. Okay, I'm not going to push on it. I have to look it up. Shalaki on that. I wanted to see if I could find when they tied the rope around the priest's ankle And where they did this, I thought it was, I know it talked about where Aaron must wear a robe. I know I just was looking at that earlier. Okay, let's keep it moving. All right. I have to go back to that, Shalaki, on not pulling that particular one. I wanted to give you the Bible rendition when it speaks specifically about that. It's a historical fact, but it's also a very biblical fact as well. Okay, but let's get into this. We're going to talk about Yahawah calls the plays, and your time's up, Esau. You got to pay. Okay, and we're going to start in Genesis. My glasses on here. All right, Genesis chapter 25:30. Go with me there if you have it. Okay, go to Genesis chapter 25 and 30. All right. And of course, we're talking about Esau and Jacob, and what Esau got to the point where he didn't respect his birthright because it was never his to have from the beginning. And you know, some of the wacky tacky religious practitioners have to try to spin it and try to say that Jacob was deceptive in terms of he and his mother Rebecca tricking a blind Isaac to get the birthright in an unscrupulous way. Not at all. Esau was already created to be the wicked for the most part from the foundation of the world, which he comes through the regenerated seed line of his forefather Cain. So if we understand that that's the case, this is a birthright that he never accepted, was never given anyway. And his methodology in terms of his respect towards the Most High has always been perpetrated in this way. But sometimes these wacky tackies, they like to try to give an interpretation of Esau being tricked out of his birthright because he was the elder son of Isaac as being something that was wicked by something Jacob did. And they call Jacob a supplanter, or or one that deceived him, or holding the heel of Esau and then trying to trick him. No, the Most High from the foundation of the world had already determined that Jacob is the blessing and will be the blessing. Okay, and that's no mistake. But you know, they try to plant that mindset on you that Esau was tricked out of his birthright. No, he was not. He didn't care for his birthright. Okay, all right. Genesis chapter 25 and 30, and it reads, "And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom," which also means in Hebrew, wasted away, which if you look at these devils, they are wasted away. Clearly that is the case, right? And so I'm glad we came off the scriptures of the Day of Atonement. I did enough of that, but that's not what the lesson's on. We'll pick up on some of that on the next lesson on the Day of Atonement tomorrow. All right, Lord willing, right? Genesis chapter 32:3, read, "And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom." Now I'm speaking this forward because I'm taking in consideration that you know that what happened when Jacob fed Esau, it was based on the fact that he felt that he was faint. He felt that he was going to die. He was a man of the field. He worked out hunting. He went out and did the things that were outdoorsy. Of course, Jacob was more of a thinker. He was more of a type of individual that would consider all of the things, including the righteousness of YAHAWAH, whereas Esau just cares about the things that were right in front of his face. In other words, he deals with that here and now. This is what I want. I'm all about right now. I don't care about tomorrow. Whereas Jacob was thinking about planning and offering sacrifice to the Most High so that he could take part of the riches of his glory, of YAHAWAH's glory. So as we fast forward, we see here that Jacob, Genesis 32:3, "And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom." Now, again, why was he doing this? Because at some point after Isaac died, Jacob had to flee. Rebecca told him, "You got to go, you got to roll out because your brother, he's going to try to kill you. You know, now that your father's gone, he's certainly going to do this. So you need to leave." And so when Jacob left, Esau, of course, didn't pursue at the moment, but he built up his portion of the nation as Jacob was also building up his portion of the nation. And now we were talking about when Jacob comes back into the presence of Esau, and he knew where the land was that Esau had retired to. Okay, the country of Edom, the red country, right? Genesis 36:1. Go there. Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Okay, so we always need to make sure we validate and verify that, because there's always seemed to be some controversy with Jakes and with individuals who are worldly. They always want to save Esau. You know, Esau's allowed to destroy you completely from every capacity possible, but it always comes down to, well, we got to save him. Why can't he be in the kingdom? Why can't he make it too? Why would you want him there? If this is what he's scheduled to do to you, why do you want him around? Will you want to glorify the fact that he raped, robbed, murdered, and killed all your people and fed your children alligators and the dogs and of conquest that would eat you, like they did with my people from the northern kingdom? I mean, come on. Is this who you want in the new covenant? Why would you want that? What's wrong with you, Jakes? You still want to be used as a shield of sin with Esau, even when you get into the new covenant? Are you kidding me? Are you out your mind? This is not going to happen. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, the generations of Esau. Genesis chapter 36:8. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir, right? Esau is Edom. Genesis 36:16. Duke Koreth. You were talking about some of the lineages. Now think about some of these names that you're going to hear. Duke. Now, well, first and foremost, who says that they're dukes right now in the world? Clearly those imposters over in England, right? They claim to be the dukes. Okay, all right. Let's make sure we understand how that comes down. Duke Koreth, Duke Gatam, and Duke Amalekite. Hello, Amalek, Amalek, Amalekite. Does ring a bell? These are the dukes that came of Eliphaz in the land of Edom. These were the sons of Adah, Adha. Okay, Genesis chapter 36:17. And these are the sons of Riphael, Esau's son. Riphael, Reuel, Riphael, right? Duke Natha, Duke Zerah, Duke Shema, Duke Mizah, and these are the dukes that came of Reuel in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Bashemath, Esau's wife. Bashemath, Esau's wife. Okay, all right. Genesis chapter 36:19. These are the sons of Esau, who is Edom, and these are their dukes. Okay, all right. These are their dukes. See, I took good notes on this, right? Esau, Shalaki, 36:21. Genesis 36:21. And Dishon and Ezer and Dishon, these are the dukes of the Horites. Okay, Horites, right? The children of Seir in the land of Edom. So the Horites were in that land of Seir before Esau got there and took it over, okay, and conquered that particular area, which was predestined for him to do that, okay? All right, Genesis 36:31. And these are the kings that reigned in the land of Edom before there reigned any king over the children of Israel. You see what I mean? So Esau was coming into the power that he was blessed to have, that his father Isaac had gave him, but the blessing always comes through YAHAWAH, Shem Yahushai. Just like with Noah, if there's a curse put on anyone by a chosen vessel of the Most High, if the Most High does not authorize that curse or that blessing, then it's not a curse or a blessing on you, because he controls all things. Let's make sure we understand that, okay? Genesis 36:32. And Bela, the son of Beor, reigned in Edom, and the name of his city was Dinhabah, Dinhabah, okay? Genesis 36:43. Duke Midigal, Duke Megiddo, Duke Iram, these be the dukes of Edom according to their habitations in the land of their possession. He is Esau, the father of the Edomites. Okay, see, this is what we would break down if we were going to break something down to you in terms of they still exist and they're still around. Okay, Exodus. We're going to go to Exodus. So join me, Exodus chapter 15. We're going to go there next. So Exodus chapter 15, Shaki, and verse 15. And it reads, then the dukes of Edom shall be amazed. The mighty men of Moab, trembling, shall take hold upon them. All the inhabitants of Canaan shall melt away. Okay, so we can clearly see that Esau's coming into his power, into his resources, and of course he's going to milk it for everything he can get. Numbers chapter 20 verse 14. See, I'm definitely, what I'm doing is I'm pulling precepts, because line upon line, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. This is what we're supposed to do. Because if I went straight through each chapter to read all of the lineages all the way down, we would be here until the Feast of Tabernacles, which starts from the 9th through the 12th. And I know y'all ain't got that kind of time, and I'm sure this won't allow me to do that. So clearly we have to make up that difference, all right? All right, now let's move forward. And Moses sent Numbers 20:14, okay? Numbers chapter 20, verse 14. Okay, so let's go there. Okay, Numbers 20:14. And Moses sent messengers from Kadesh unto the king of Edom. Thus saith thy brother Israel, thou knowest all the travail that hath befallen us. Okay, Numbers 20:18. And Edom said unto him, thou shalt not pass by me, lest I come out against thee with the sword. So see, Esau's already starting his wickedness in terms of trying to perpetrate that process, right? Okay, here we go. Numbers 20:20. And he said, thou shalt not go through. And Edom came out against him with much people and with a strong hand. Numbers 20:21. Thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through his brother. Wherefore Israel turned away from him. Numbers 20:23. And the Lord Yahawah spake unto Moses and Aaron in the Mount Hor, and by the coast of the land of Edom, saying, okay, 21:4. And they journeyed. Okay, Shalaki. What I want to do is I want to I want to go back to Numbers 21:4 again. Shalaki. They journeyed. So no, Shalaki 20:23. So let me go to 20. Because there's something I want to pull out of there. And when I was at, what, 23? Okay, yeah, Numbers 20:23. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in Mount Hor by the coast of the land of Edom, saying, Aaron shall be gathered unto his people, for he shall not enter into the land which I have given unto the children of Israel, because he rebelled against my word at the water of Meribah. Take Aaron and Eleazar his son, and bring them up unto Mount Hor, and strip Aaron of his garments, and put them upon Eleazar his son, and Aaron shall be gathered unto his people, and shall die there. See, I wanted to make sure I got that part, because that was very important to understand what happened with Aaron in terms of that time of the priesthood and what he was supposed to do, and not fulfilling the mission that he was supposed to provide for YAHAWAH Shem Shai. See, let me tell you something. You cannot play with the Most High. Even if you are ignorant to some things in the law that you're supposed to know, he's not going to accept that, because if he's giving you a platform to operate on, you better get studied up and understand what it is you're supposed to do and how to perform it. Because if you do not, trust me, you will have to pay for it, and he's not going to play around. He's deleting people. Just like my brother always talked about in the news. I love hearing him. I love when he says it. I wish I could say it like he says it, because not only is he bringing some hardcore truths to you, but it's quite entertaining, and I love his mannerisms and his sense of humor when he brings that out. In the news. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Okay, let me not digress. Okay. All right, going back. And Moses did as the Lord Yahawah commanded, and they went up into Mount Hor, and in the sight of all the congregation. And Moses stripped Aaron of his garments and put them upon Eleazar, his son. And Aaron died there in the top of the mount. And Moses and Eleazar came down from the mount, right? And when all the congregation saw that Aaron was dead, they mourned for Aaron 30 days, even all the house of Israel. But see, Eleazar is a similitude of Lazarus, which means bringing the priesthood back up. So priesthood was raised up through Eleazar, okay, in that way. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure I got that out before I went to Numbers 23. Okay, so now I'm going to Numbers 23 to pull this next precept. And 23, Numbers, Shalaki. No, Shalaki, I'm going to, what's my notes? Okay, yeah, I'm going to Numbers, I'm going to Numbers 21. That's where I was going, Shalaki. Numbers 21, and of course I had 4, verse 4. And they journeyed from Mount Hor by the way of the Red Sea to compass the land of Edom. And the soul of the people was much discouraged because of the way. And the people spake against Yahawah and against Moses, wherefore have ye brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no bread, neither is there any water, and our soul loatheth this this light bread. See, you know, I was watching a movie, and you probably saw the movie too. It was Django, all right. And when he got to the point where he was captured after he deleted a bunch of Edomites, right? And they took him to this farm where he was going to potentially serve out his punishment for what he did to Candyland. Okay, and I'll tell you about that for a minute. Basically, what happened during that time is he was put back into slavery instead of being a free man searching for his wife. And so at that time, his wife was named Broomhilda. Ain't that something, right? A German name. Well, I'll tell you, these dudes come up with some stuff. Torrentino's nuts. Anyway, he got captured. He got sent to this farm with these Australian Dutch slavers. Okay, now see, Esau's so greedy. I mean, he's just so greedy. That's why he got to pay. And so anyway, what Django ended up doing was, and I'm going to my point here. That's why I'm bringing this up, because I have to set the stage for what I'm talking about here in terms of how our people, they won't follow somebody that has the truth and is trying to bring the truth to them, and not necessarily asking them what they're going to do. But he did ask them, but they still stayed in that condition they were in. Okay, so anyway, he told these slavers that he was a bounty hunter and he was looking to take in certain men who were wanted by the law. And he had a document that proved that he actually was a bounty hunter. And so what he did was he presented the document to them, and he said he wasn't a slave. This is what he was, a free man. And then, of course, they went through their antics of believing him or not. And then once they saw the paperwork, what happens to Esau? His greed turns up. Now he's interested in the money, because there's a lot of money to go collect these individuals who were wanted. So they got so distracted to the point where they decided to give Django, who played the role, Jamie Foxx played that role. And so Kerry Washington was his wife, but Jamie Foxx played the role of Django. And then what he did was he showed the paper, and then he said, well, you can go and collect this money and let me go, and then, you'll be rich. What do you need us for? And there was other slaves that was in this cage, in this cage transport. Okay, it's like a big old cage that you keep animals in, right? And they were in there. And so once the Edomites said, well, if we're going to go get these guys, then give this Blackie your gun. And so, and make sure it's loaded and make sure it's shooting right. As soon as they gave Django the gun, he just blows them away. Boom, boom. He deletes both of them and then deletes the other one, and he blew up. So now, fast forward to the point where now he's free. He's got his guns. He's going to get a horse. So he goes over to the Jakes that are all this time. These Jakes are watching this situation from the from the cage they're in. This travel cage for slaves and animals. So he goes over to him and he asks him, now they seen all this happen. They seen him trick the Edomites, blow them away, made them pay. Okay, you had to pay for what they did, right? And then he took their weapons and everything and the dynamite, right? And then he told him, he said, listen, what y'all gonna do? Y'all gonna stay in that cage or y'all gonna roll out? He said, because I'm gonna handle business. So the Jakes just look at him, just like today. And now how things are going. Jake will just stare at you. They'll stay in their condition, just like when they're behind their mask. Their eyes pop out. They're looking at you, but they won't change the condition they're in, or they won't even attempt to change it. Now, anybody who was really down to try to be free, they saw what Django was doing, what Jamie did, right? When he rolled out, he blew these dudes up. What you think he's gonna do with the rest of them that he go deal with? Why didn't they join him? Why did those Jakes just sit in the cage and just stare out? They wouldn't come out. He even asked them to come out. They wouldn't come out. They like to be in the condition that they're in, and they won't leave. They want to be a slave. Clearly, they see that he didn't want to be one. So anyway, the long story short, he goes back in Candyland, of course, and he takes care of the rest of the Edomites, including a super coon, a super swoon coon, played by Samuel L. Jackson. It's James, and he blows him away, blows his knees up, shoots him because he walked around on a cane like he was all crippled. And then once Django finished taking out the rest of the Edomites, and he gonna come down like, okay, now all right, Django, now you look like you used all your shots with the gun. And he said, well, yeah, but I got two. So anyway, he shoots him down in the knees, leaves him alive, and then he blows up Candyland. The metaphor is real good because see what we got coming is use the metaphor of Candyland similar to this country we're in. This country's Candyland to a lot of people. Think about it, right? And Israelites are going to be part of the deletion of Candyland. Now, how we part of it? Well, what we need to do is what we're doing in terms of bringing the truth out to for the Most High to what this place is. It ain't really Candyland, and it's got to go because Yahawah calls the plays in times of Esau. You got to pay, and that's how it gets down. But I just wanted to bring that little analogy because Jakes just they won't move, man. They won't go. They want to stay in this condition. They think for somehow, in some way, they should be in this wicked condition and continue to stay here and propagate this whole situation in general and think it's going to come back online. It's not coming back online. It's got to go down. Okay, so we read Numbers chapter 21:4, right? Now we're going to go to Numbers 24 and 18. We're going to go from here, 24 and 18. And it reads, and he took up his parable and said, rise up, Balak, and hear, hearken unto me, thou son of Zippor. Yahawah is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. Hath he said, and shall he not do? Question. Or hath he spoken, and shall he not make it good? See, so when the Most High telling you that he's going to perform what he's going to do, he is going to do it. And there's not going to be no one turning around and changing it. No one's changing the rules and derivatives of Yahawah by Hashem Yahushua. The Father made the rules. Yahushua is going to fulfill them, and no one's going to stop them or change them. No religious practitioner, no wacky tackies. It's going to happen. Even if you don't believe it, doesn't mean it ain't going to happen. Okay, so you need to take that in consideration. Okay, let's go to Numbers 33. See, now what I'm doing again is I'm precepting the things that are taking you forward and showing you how Esau is going to pay and how Yahawah's building it up to that point. Numbers 33:37, and it reads, and they removed from Kadesh and pitched in Mount Hor, H-O-R, in the edge of the land of Edom. And Aaron, the priest, went up into Mount Hor at the commandment of the Lord and died there. See, remember, that's when I read that before about what happened. See how it goes back from 23 even to 33 to validate that portion of it, right? children that were coming and going. And 39. And Aaron was 123 years old when he died in Mount Hor. And the king Arad, the Canaanite, which dwelt in the south in the land of Canaan, heard the coming of the children of Israel, and they departed from Mount Hor and pitched in Zalmorha, right? And they departed from Zalmorha and pitched in Puon, Puon, and they departed from Puon and pitched in Oboth, and they departed from Oboth and pitched in Lajibrium, and in the border of Moab, and they departed from Lim and pitched in Dibongad, and they removed from Dibongad and encamped. Okay, let me go back. And encamped. Where did they go? Yeah, and they departed from Lim and the pitch one and removed the Bible, right? And they encamped in Amin Dabalahath and Amin Dabalaham, and they removed from Amin Dabalahath and pitched in the mountains of Ibrim before Nebo. And they departed from the mountains of Abram and pitched in the plains of Moab by the Jordan near Jericho. I wanted to get to that point because, see, this is when the Israelites are going to catch up with them, and this is when Jericho is going to be getting ready to come down. Okay, so now we're going to go to Numbers 34, okay, and we're going to read 3, and it comes, and it reads, and then your south quarter shall be from the wilderness of Zin along by the coast of Edom, and your south border shall be the uttermost coast of the Salt Sea eastward. Okay? All right. So now we're going to go from Numbers 34. So I'm going to pick up where Joshua chapter 15 and 1. Okay. See, I'm pulling precepts now. Stay with me. Okay. This then was the lot of the tribe of the children of Judah by their families, even to the border of Edom, the wilderness of Zin, southward was the uttermost part of the south coast. See, that's why I wanted to get that, right? Joshua chapter 15, 21, precepting down, and the uttermost cities of the tribe of the children of Judah toward the coast of Edom, southward were Kabizel and Eder and Jagur. All right. Now I'm going to pop over to Judges. So go with me. I'm going over to Judges chapter 5 and 4. Okay. YAHAWAH, when thou wentest out of Seir, when thou marchest out of the field of Edom, the earth trembled, and the heavens dropped, the clouds also dropped water. Okay, Judges 11:17. Then Israel sent messengers unto the king of Edom, saying, let me, I pray thee, pass through thy land. But the king of Edom would not hearken thereof. And in the matter they set upon the king of Moab, but he would not consent. And Israel abode in Kadesh. All right. Judges 11:18. Then they went along through the wilderness and compassed the land of Edom and the land of Moab, and came by the east side of the land of Moab and pitched on the other side of Aram, but came not within the border of Moab, for Ammon was the border of Moab. Okay, now we got to go to Samuel. Go to Samuel. What am I on this here? Yeah, Samuel chapter 1:14. 1 Samuel 14:47. Okay, so go with me to 1 Samuel 14:47. Where are we at? 1 Samuel 14 and 47. Give you time to get there. Okay. All right. And it reads, so Saul took the kingdom over Israel and fought against all his enemies on every side, against Moab and against the children of Ammon and against Edom and against the kings of Zobah and against the Philistines, and whithersoever he turned himself, he vexed them. And he gathered a host and smote the Amalekites and delivered Israel out of the hands of them that spoiled them. Okay, and so as you can see, during that time, of course, Most High YAHAWAH Shemel Shai was making Esau and the rest of the heathens, the Moabites, the Ammonites, the Amorites, and all the rest of them pay for what they did to Israel. Okay, so it's important to follow the precept in that manner, the way we're giving it to you. And what I'm trying to do is just try to give you a sequence building up to Esau paying, right? So that was Samuel 14:47. Okay, and we read and against Edom and against the kings of Zoban, and against the Philistines, the Hamites, and the Africans, right? And and whithersoever he turned himself, he vexed them. Samuel chapter 2, 2 Samuel chapter 8, verse 14. And he put garrisons in Edom throughout all Edom, but he garrisons, and all of Edom became David's servants, and the Lord preserved David whithersoever he went. So this was prelude to how now after Saul came down, David went up, and once David became king and became a great warrior for the Most High, he took the Edomites out. He took them down. He made them pay. They're going to have to pay the same way coming up this way, but it's going to be even worse. But at least we're seeing that in 2 Samuel 8:14, David already showed you that he took control because he had garrisons on Esau big time. This was during the time when we took them down and they had to go into slavery and everything else, which they're going back in again. Revelation chapter 13 is going to explain that, of course. 1 Kings 9:26. Now go with me to 1 Kings 9:26, because we're going to still bring out precepts of how he comes down. Okay, because now we're talking to Solomon, right? And King Solomon made a navy of ships in Ezingerberg, which besides Eloth on the shore of the Red Sea in the land of Edom. So you can see David's son Solomon was continuing to inherit the lineage of pushing Esau and keeping him down during this time, and which was a great thing to do, right? 1 Kings 11:14, and Yahweh the Lord stirred up an adversary unto Solomon, Hadad the Edomite. Okay, Hadad the Edomite, and he was of the king's seed in Edom. All right, 1 Kings 11:15. And it came to pass when David was in Edom, and Joab, the captain of the host, was going up to bury the slain, after he had smitten every male in Edom. Right? Check it out. He smitten all of them. Right? Check it out. 1 Kings 11:16. For 6 months did Joab remain there with all Israel until he had cut off every male in Edom. See what I'm saying? He was not playing, man. And that was 16, right? All right. 17. That Hadad fled, and certain Edomites of his father's servants with him, to go into Egypt, Hadad being yet a little child. And they arose out of Midian and came to Paran, and they took men with them out of Paran, and they came to Egypt, unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt, which gave him a house and appointed him victuals and gave him land. See, once again, Hamites are helping these Edomites out, man. You see how they're getting down, right? All right, 19. And Hadad found great favor in the sight of Pharaoh, so that he gave him a wife and sister of his own wife, and sister of Tahaphanes the queen, right? And the sister of Tahaphanes bare him Gunevath, his son, right, whom Tahaphanes weaned in Pharaoh's house, and Gunevath was in Pharaoh's house, hold among the sons of Pharaoh. And when Hadad heard in Egypt that David slept with his fathers, and that Joab, the captain of the host, was dead, Hadad said to Pharaoh, "Let me depart, that I may go to my own country." See, now he wants to try to come back. Okay, check it out. Okay. And Pharaoh said unto him, "But what hast thou lacked with me, that behold thou seekest to go to thy own country?" And he answered, "Nothing, howbeit let me go to any wise." And he said, okay. And Yahawah stirred up another adversary, Rizon, the son of Eladah, which fled from the land of Hazadarazar, king of Zobah. And he gathered men unto him and became the captain over the band when David slew them in Zobah. And they went to Damascus and dwelt therein and reigned in Damascus. Okay, just wanted to finish that off so that I have the thought correctly when we come down there. Okay, so now we were at 1 Kings 16. We did that about Joab. Okay, 1 Kings 22:47. And there was then no king in Edom, a deputy was king. All right, 2 Kings 3 through 8. So we're gonna go next. So I got my notes here. 2 Kings 3 through 8, and it reads, "And he said, Which way shall we go? Question, or go up? Question. And he answered, The way through the wilderness of Edom." Okay. 2 Kings 3:9. "So the king of Israel went, and the king of Judah, and the king of Edom, and they fetched a compass of 7 days' journey, and there was no water for the host and for the cattle that followed them." See, they were already dealing with a plague of famine at that point, right? 2 Kings 2, 3 through 2 Kings 2, chapter 3:12. "And Jehoshaphat said, The word of Yahawah is with me," which Shalaki is with him. "So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat and the king of Edom went down to him." Okay, that was 2 Kings 3:12, right? So let's make sure we get that. I want to finish off a little bit of that precept on that one. So we want to go to 2 Kings. And that was 3 to 12, right? And we had 12, because I got to finish that thought on that one. And 13. "And Elisha said unto king of Israel, What have I to do with thee?" Question. See, I needed to get that one. "Get thee to the prophets of thy father and to the prophets of thy mother." And the king of Israel said unto him, "Nay, for the Lord Yahawah hath called these 3 kings together to deliver them into the hand of Moab." Got him. and Elisha said, As Yahawah of hosts liveth, before whom I stand, surely were it not that I regarded the presence of Jehoshaphat the king of Judah, I would not look towards thee, nor see thee. 15. "But now bring me a minstrel." And it came to pass, when the minstrel played, that the hand of Yahawah came upon him. And he said, Thus saith the Lord, make this valley full of ditches. 17. For thus saith the Lord, ye shall not see wind, neither shall ye see rain, yet that valley shall be filled with water, that ye may drink, both ye and your cattle and your beast. Now, the reason why I wanted to pull that one was because, number one, we were dealing with a famine, and then once the famine became an issue at that point in time, what happened? They did praise and worship, because that's what the minstrel process became once the Lord showed upon the minstrel, and then he performed what he needed to get the water, right? And he said, but bring the minstrel, and it came to pass when the minstrel played, see, this is part of the praise and worship, the hand of the Lord came upon him. And he said, thus saith Yahweh, make this valley full of ditches. And thus saith Yahweh, ye shall not see wind, rather shall ye see rain, that the valley shall be filled with water, that ye may drink, both ye and your cattle and your beast. Okay? And this is but a light thing in the sight of Yahweh. He will deliver the Moabites also into your hand. And ye shall smite every fenced city and every choice city, and shall fell every good tree, and stop all wells of water, and mar every good piece of land with stones. And it came to pass in the morning, when the meat offering was offered, that behold, there came water by the way of Edom, and the country was filled with water. Okay? So I needed to get that because you wanted to see the hand of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai show through once you perform what he's looking for in terms of what you need to do. All right, so we pulled that from, from 2 Kings, and that was 2 Kings 3. So now we're going to go to, the battle was through. Yeah, pull 2 Kings chapter 3, verse 26. And when the king of Moab saw that the battle was too sore for him, he took with him 700 men, then drew swords to break through even unto the king of Edom, but they could not. Okay, 2 Kings 8:20. And in his days Edom revolted from under the hand of Judah and made a king over themselves. All right, 22. Yet Edom revolted from under the hand of Judah unto this day. Then Libnan revolted at the same time. 2 Kings 14:7. He slew of Edom in the valley of the salt 10,000, and took Selah by war, Shalaki, and called the name of it Jokahil unto this day. Jokahil unto this day. Okay. Right. 2 Kings 14:10. Thou hast indeed smitten Edom, right? And thine heart hath lifted thee up. Glory of this, and tarry to home. For thine shoulderest thou needle, and thy hurt that thou shouldest fall, even thou and Judah, why thee? So basically, Edom was getting smitten here. Thou hast indeed smitten Edom, and then his heart was lifted up in terms of the power that he moved forward with, in terms of how Judah had operated at that particular time, right? Chronicles. Next, we're going to go to Chronicles, First Chronicles chapter 1:43, right? Okay, let's go First Chronicles, and we want 1 and 1. It says 43. Okay, where is it? Yep, 43. Now these are the kings that reigned in the land of Edom before the king reigned over the children of Israel. Bela, the son of Beor, and the name of the city was Dinabah, right? Okay. All right, that's true. Chronicles 1 and 51, right? Let's go to the 51. Hadad died also, and the dukes of Edom were Duke Timoth, Duke Arilah, and Duke Jithrith. Okay, so you notice what Timoth means, because the scripture talks about there'll be no more wisdom in Timoth, right? Because we heard of that in the scriptures as well. Okay, next we're going to go to Chronicles, same one. We stay in Chronicle. We're going to go First Chronicles 54, and that's his Duke Megadol and Duke Iram. Okay, these are the dukes of Edom at this particular time, right? And then we go to First Chronicles 18:11. Then also came Shalaki. Then also King David dedicated unto the Yahawah with the silver and the gold that he brought from all these nations, from Edom and from Moab and from the children of Ammon and from the Philistines and from Amalek. So again, when we hit Chronicles, we can see that what's happening here at this time is all the riches that's coming from conquering all these heathens, including the Edomites and the Amalekites and all of the Hamites that were in the area at the time when we're taking the land. We're getting the riches of wealth that's coming to us through that portion of conquer, which means this is the type of a payback that's going down against Edom, right? And it talks about the garrisons that David put there, because that's First Chronicles 18:13. So as it reads, and he put garrisons in Edom, that all the Edomite and all the Edomites became David's servant. Thus the Lord Yahweh preserved David whithersoever he went. Okay. Second Chronicles. Then went Solomon. Second Chronicles 2, 18, 17. Then went Solomon to Ebenezer and to Ethoth at the seaside in the land of Edom. Okay, now we're going into that portion where the Edomites are starting to get payback for what they've done, right? Through David and through Solomon, his seed, right, his son. All right. Second Chronicles 25:20. But as it says here, but Azariah would not hear, for it came of Yahweh that he might deliver them into the hand of their enemies, because they sought after the gods of Edom. Okay, see, this is where the wickedness was starting to roll in, right? Psalms 50, Psalm 60, verse 1. Psalms chapter 60, verse 1. Let's go there, right? Make sure we get that one. Psalms 60. Okay, and 1. All right. Right. To the chief musician of Shushathuth, all right, Mitcham of David, to teach when he strove with the Aramarathim, all right, the Aramarathim, and with Aramazoth, when Joab returned and smote of Edom in the valley of the salt 12,000. O Yahweh, thou hast cast us off, thou hast scattered us, thou hast been displeased. O turn thyself to us again. See, now you can see here, the Most High is trying to direct them to do exactly what he says, but a lot of them get high-minded and they start turning from him and they start following their own moral code instead of following the commandments and following to the letter exactly what the Most High wants you to do. See, this becomes a very problematic thing even amongst our people to date. You notice that they have a moral code that they seem to adhere to that is attached to their organizations, as opposed to following the directives that are explicit with YAHAWAH Shem Yahushai. This starts to become a problem in terms of the direction that the Most High is taking Israel and the prophecies first and foremost, in order to fulfill all of his needs and all of the things that the Most High is looking to accomplish. But again, what happens is we get off the path. We take a side ramp and go off and start doing some things, and the Most High is directing you in that manner. But at the same time, what ends up happening here is, if you are not picking up on the clues that he's deja vuing you, that he's giving you through unction and through the Ruach HaKodesh and Holy Spirit, then what ends up happening is real clear. You start to go off, and once you go off, then you're out of line, and he's got to pull you back, and that causes a big problem for the most part. Okay. let me pull into what's going on here, because once he was displeased, but turn thyself to us again. He's begging the Most High to turn back, which is what we're doing right now. We're asking for him to return his face back to us and his grace back to us. And that becomes a problem when we don't pick up and match up the moral code of what we're supposed to be doing spiritually with the accuracy of the scriptures in terms of how we're supposed to operate and bring this knowledge forward. And that becomes a problem. Okay, Psalms chapter 60 verse 8. Moab is my washpot, over Edom will I cast out my shoe. Philistia, triumph thou because of me. So now we have a process where the Most High is using Israel to chasten and to take down various different nations that are all around where the land is, which belongs to the Israelites through the Most High's inheritance, right? 9, Psalm 69, who will bring me into the strong city? Who will lead me into Edom? Question. All right, let's go up and find out. Psalms 83:6, the tabernacles of Edom, the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, right? These are the ones through Psalms 83 that have formed crafty counsel against the hidden ones, against us, right? And against all Israel scattered all over the earth, right? Psalms 108:9, Moab is my washpot, over Edom will I cast my shoe, and over Philistia will I triumph. Psalms 108:10, who will bring me into the strong city? Who will lead me into Edom? Psalms 137:7. Remember, O Lord, O Yahawah, the children of Edom, right? In the day of Jerusalem, who said, race it, even to the foundation thereof, right? Right? Isaiah 11:14. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines towards the west. They shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. Isaiah 63:1, one of my favorites, right? Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? This is Yahawashi. This that is gracious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. I'm going straight to the next precept I love also, which is Jeremiah chapter 9:26. Jeremiah 9:26. Egypt and Judah and Edom and the children of Ammon and Moab and all that are in the uttermost corners that dwell in the wilderness, for all these nations are uncircumcised, and all the house of Israel are uncircumcised in the heart. Okay, very important. Jeremiah 25:21. Edom and Moab and the children of Ammon, right? Jeremiah 27:3. And send them to the king of Edom and to the king of Moab and to the king of the Amorites and to the king of Tyrus and to the king of Zidon by the hand of the messengers which come to Jerusalem unto Zedekiah king of Judah, right? Jeremiah chapter 40 verse 11. Likewise, when all the Israelites that were in Moab and among the Amorites and in Edom and that were in all the countries heard that the king of Babylon had left a remnant of Judah, and that he had set over them Gilgal, Gedaliah, the son of Amachim, the son of Stephan, right? That was, yes, I heard that one. Was it? That was Jeremiah 40, right? Yes. Jeremiah, that was on 40:11, right? I need to finish that one up because we're not going to stay on much longer because we're getting pretty deep into this right now. But I wanted to make sure I got the ones I needed. 11, right, okay, right, 12. Even all the Israelites returned out of all places, whether they were driven, and came to the land of Judah in Gilead unto Mizpah, which was the Egyptian area, and gathered wine and summer fruits very much. Moreover, um, Jonathan, the son of Kereth, of all the captains of the forces that were in the fields, came to Gilead to Mizpah, and said unto him, Doest thou certainly know that Baalis, the king of the Amorites, had sent Ishmael, the son of Nethian, to slay thee? Question. But Gilead said, son of Amalekam, Shilaki, Hayamkim, believe them not. Then Jonathan, the son of Kedeth, spoke to Gedereth and Mezah secretly, saying, Let them go, I pray thee, and I will slay Ishmael, the son of Nethian, and no man shall know it. Wherefore shall he slay thee? And all the Israelites which are gathered unto thee should be scattered, and the remnant of Judah perish. So they were plotting to make sure that they got us out of the picture completely, right? but Gedereth, the son of Hakam, said unto Jonathan, the son of Keresh, Thou shalt not do this thing, for thou speakest falsely of Ishmael. So they were already trying to unite at this particular point and bring that forward, but it didn't work out for them, right? Let's go ahead and find out. Let's pull it forward, right? That was Jeremiah 40, right? Jeremiah 49:7. Concerning Edom, thus saith Yahawah of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? See? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? Right? Jeremiah 49:17. Also, Edom shall be a desolation. Everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss and at all the plagues thereof. Jeremiah 49:20. Therefore, hear the counsel of Yahawah that he hath taken against Edom, and his purpose that he hath proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate within. See, this brings you right up to speed in terms of where we are right now, in terms of what's getting ready to happen to the world as well as this country. He's going to, Most High is pushing Edom to bring the least of the flock out. And once those small hats get into the picture and really start maneuvering things as they always do, it's going to perpetuate a process that sends ripples around the whole world. And when that happens, it's going to bring forward the destruction that comes forward to take this system down. And that's where we're standing at this particular time, right? Okay. That's why it says desolate with them. Jeremiah 49:22. One of the favorite lines that the brothers always bring out. We love to bring this one out. 49:22. Behold, he shall come up and fly as an eagle, and spread his wings over Basra. And in that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of a woman in her pains. Okay, so you can see he's definitely bringing them down here now at this point in time. So what I want to do is I'm going to stop here, because there's some portions of this that I want to bring into my next lesson tomorrow. So I'm going to mark off where I am, because I don't want to make this too long, and then I'm going to pick up tomorrow where I left off here with Jeremiah chapter 49:22, and then move forward from there in terms of finishing off the rest of my lesson. And then I'm going to take you from the rest of this lesson where Yahawah calls the plays, your time is up, Esau, you got to pay. And I'm going to bring you into the next lesson for the Day of Atonement, where it talks about, we're going to say 144,000 reasons to be praising, worshiping, and praying to Yahawah by Hashem Yahushai. 144,000 reasons to be praising, worshiping, and praying to Yahawah by Hashem Yahushai. So this was our lesson that we wanted to bring out about the fact that Yahawah calls the plays and your time's up, Esau, you got to pay. So as you can see, what we did was we had to precept through the process of Esau raising up during the time after Esau was not given the blessing, but the blessing was given to Jacob, which was stated for him to have it from the beginning. We had to make sure we understand that we cannot infiltrate the knowledge of the wicked in terms of this particular process that the Most High set predestinated from the beginning, in terms of the fact that Jacob was always going to get the blessing. But of course, they perpetuate a lie by telling you that Jacob was being deceptive and that he went ahead and stole a birthright that was already his from the beginning. And that's why I wanted to bring in those precepts and scriptures from the beginning in Genesis chapter 25 all the way down and finishing up with Jeremiah chapter 49:20 in terms of where it needed to go. So this was the lesson that I wanted to bring out before we start to celebrate the Day of Atonement, to telling us and giving us an assurance that Yahawah calls the plays, and your time's up, Esau, you got to pay. And so what we want to make sure we don't do is become that shield anymore for Esau when he has to pay for all of the things that he was destined to do and has been pushed forward to do by YAHAWAH Hashem Yahushua, because the wicked can be his sword from the left-hand side. So on that note, we want to close out this lesson as I always do when I always sing it. Kahalo YAHAWAH Vashem Yahushua Bashem Rakatagash Wada Yahawah Wada Yahawah Vashem Yahushua Bashem Rakatagash Duwada